Hi there, thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to talk about my 2.5 years journey of keto low carb diet and fasting. If you enjoy content like this, please give it a thumbs up and share with other people. I started eating a low carb ketogenic diet in about summer to early fall of 2018. But I want to backtrack to 2017. Um, I I started having a lot of GI issues from the very beginning in January of 2017. Um, Even though I grew up with a lot of GI problems, it was very different. I had a very sudden change where I started having like pain 24/7, unshakable pain. So I started seeing a lot of doctors. I went to different GI doctors. I went to different hospitals. I did lots and lots of tests. Nothing new came up. So when after all of that, in 2018, I came across this book. It was a Chinese book. This lady talking about a low carbohydrate diet. It was a big surprise to me because, I grew up with the convention wisdom of eating, little oil, eating little salt, and that whole grain is good for you. So this book kind of like surprised me. My family, we are very traditional Chinese. We ate, most of the time we prepare whole fresh food, but we do eat a lot of carbohydrate. We eat rice, we eat noodles and buns, things like that on a regular basis. So I never really considered a low carbohydrate diet was necessary for me. I also never had a weight issue. But it was because of this new GI problem that prompted me to try new things, because I didn't want to take drugs, so I thought I'd try out diet. So before going low carb, I had experimented with almost a vegetarian diet for about a year. Because going with the convention wisdom, I thought maybe eating meat was too hard for me to digest. So I started going, I would eat one bite of meat a day. That is maybe like a tablespoon of meat, sometimes no meat at all. And the rest of it, my diet was vegetable, fruits, and whole grain, rice, and such. But what happened was, after a year of being on this vegetarian diet, I noticed that my blood sugar started swinging a lot. I would get really, really sleepy in the middle of the morning and really sleepy and tired in the middle of afternoon. And also, within that year, I also experienced a few times of hypoglycemia, where I would eat my meal and then maybe 2 o'clock go for a workout or a brisk walk, and I would come back in cold sweat and almost passing out. And so that really scared me. When I came across this book about low carbohydrate diet, the book also explained a lot of physiological hormonal things that happens in the body when we are eating too much carbohydrate, or things that really spike our insulin and spike our sugar. I thought a low carbohydrate diet might be a good way to try to normalize my blood sugar swing. So that's a second reason why I want to try. So the first reason was GI problem. Second reason was blood sugar. And the third reason I wanted to, I feel like it's a good time to give it a try was because I was on a FODMAP diet for my IBS, and it's a diet that eliminates a lot of carbohydrate food. So I felt like it goes hand in hand with a low carbohydrate diet. So with these 3 reasons, I figure it was a good time to start. In the meantime, though, I started reading a lot more books because I didn't want to just rely on one book or a couple of YouTube videos, doctors talking about it. So I started reading a lot of books at the same time, and over time, I do feel like all my readings are confirming that this is a better way to go. Let's talk about the pros of what I experienced during these 2.5 years. The first thing I think most people experience is weight loss. It's very drastic, especially if you're heavier. I was never overweight, so weight loss wasn't like my goal for going with this diet. It's just kind of a side benefit, I guess. So in my first year, I lost a lot of weight. In the first month, I think whatever the weight that came off was probably just water weight, but I continued to lose weight. I lost almost 20 pounds to the point where I was underweight on BMI, and so that part probably wasn't too good. That was the first year, but it also helped my GI problem. I was able to lessen the pain. Instead of every day, it would flare up 2-3 times, 3-4 times a week, and I also started going to bathroom better. Beside the GI was the blood sugar. So within just a few months, my blood sugar definitely normalized. I don't find myself being having this energy swing throughout the day. I haven't had an episode of hypoglycemia ever since I went on this diet. I did buy a glucose monitor, but I don't use it so often, and honestly I think if you know what the symptoms are when you go hyper or hypoglycemia, you kind of know, like if you pay attention to your body, you kind of know. So I definitely notice. And then another thing that I wasn't expecting at all was that my seasonal allergy was gone. I had seasonal allergy, like really severe seasonal allergy with sinus infection every year since college, and that just went away. That just went away after 1 year of keto. I just have no more seasonal allergies. Another thing that also wasn't in my plan to fix was migraine. About 5 years ago, I started developing a really bad migraine, and it would flare up, 2-3 times a week. It was really, really bad. But after being on this diet for about 6 months or so, I started noticing that I wasn't getting any migraine, or it was so little. At this point, I'm probably getting migraine just from 2-3 times a week to 2-3 times a year. It's very rare, and when I do have a flare up, it's mild and much more manageable. I have read about improved sleep, and this has to do with like eating more fat in the diet, and but also with magnesium. There's a lot of emphasis on the keto diet to take in more potassium and take in more magnesium. So I do take a magnesium glycinate every night before I go to sleep, and that now it's been a year taking it continuously every single night. My sleep has improved a lot. Also with the keto diet, it makes fasting much easier. I started with the 16-8, just skipping the breakfast, but at this point I'm very comfortable with one meal a day. Fasting particularly is good for my gut resting. Being able to eat one meal a day but eat a very nutritious and not lacking in calories is very important. So eating enough protein and eating enough calorie and eating for a full 2-hour window is my way of doing my OMAD. So I fast for 22 hours and I eat for 2 hours. Right now, OMAD is kind of what I stick with. I eat one meal about lunchtime, like 12 to 2-ish. Eating at lunchtime gives my gut much more time to work its way. So these are the pros. But it's not a perfect diet, I have to say. Some people make it sound like keto diet is a miracle that will cure everything. I don't think it cures everything, because I think a real cure will bring you back to being able to eat a healthy range of food without being sick. I feel like that elimination diet in itself is a maintenance diet. That means whatever that's broken is not truly cured. It's just that this is what works for the health condition. So it's not a cure, but it does help a lot. The negatives I personally experience are not that many, but there are a few. So after the first year of keto diet, I felt a lot better. So I thought I'd try to cut off even more. I thought I'd give carnivore diet a try for a month. That didn't turn out well for me. I know it seems to work out for many people, and that's great, but it just really didn't work out for me. In fact, it went negative for me. It actually messed up my GI progress and gave me some other issues that until today I'm still trying to reverse, and so far I haven't been very successful reversing. So I have new GI problem, but that's more from carnivore diet. Another thing is that from the second year on, I steadily regained weight. So I'm actually back to the weight I started with, or even a few pounds more. I don't know why, because I'm actually doing, like I said, I'm eating an OMAD and I am eating a keto diet. I am keeping my carbohydrate at just about 20 grams. I definitely don't eat more than 50 grams if in very, very rare cases would I eat up to 50 grams of carbs. But so that's one negative. I don't quite understand why. I don't know if it's because I need to adjust my protein and fat ratio. I don't eat like a tremendous amount of fat. I don't drink bullet coffee. So yeah, I'm a little confused about that, but I'm still not too concerned. I'm not overweight or anything. And the most important thing is, again, my blood sugar is not spiking and dropping like crazy. So I know my insulin should be staying relatively at a good range. Now the second thing that is a negative, which again I don't quite understand, is I think it has to do with my microbiome. So when we change our diet, our microbiome, the bacteria in our gut can change too, a different set of bacteria. So if you eat a lot of sugar, you're gonna feed a lot of bad bacteria that is going to make you crave sugar more. In my case though, I never liked sweet. Just growing up, I was just not a sweet person. But I actually find that after eating a keto diet thus far, I actually crave sweets. I do make little cookies and brownies and cakes, keto version at times using erythritol and stevia. Um, Not that much, but I find myself thinking about these food more than I ever did before. So I don't know why. Um, Another thing is that my whole life I never ate dairy. I've always been allergic to dairy. It always make me bloat. I hate the taste and smell of milk. But since going on keto, I seeing a lot of recipes that in the beginning I felt like cheese was really good, and that fermented cheese, the hard cheese, are fine. But after experimenting with different dairies, I find that even hard cheeses still make me bloat. Again, I don't know why. So I'm trying to reduce dairy, but again, I find that to be like my gut is craving it. Another category of food that I didn't like before, but now I really enjoy are nuts. Nuts and peanuts. Peanuts are legume. But I never liked nuts and peanuts before. My husband, for our 10-year marriage, he would eat so much nuts and seeds, and I would have no interest. But these days, I would have so much interest to eat nuts and seeds. These things, particularly peanuts, I think because it is a legume, which is a no-no for people with IBS. And I do find that eating peanuts bloat me a lot, but somehow, man, like I have so much craving and for eating peanuts and also eating peanut butter. But all the other nuts too, they somehow just bloat me. So it's another thing I have to struggle now that I never had to before I go on a keto diet. Another thing is salad. Salad meaning raw vegetable salad. I used to never like it. I liked my Chinese cooked vegetable. I've always ate cooked vegetable. But in the last year or so, I find myself just craving to eat salad. Salad is good, but I have a very cold body, and I definitely, in a Chinese medical mindset, eating cold food on a cold body is not good. So, I'm trying to go back to eating, I mean, I always eat cooked vegetable, but I'm trying to not eat so much salad as well. But all of this combines into one negative aspect, that is the mental aspect of diet. The mental aspect of dealing with cravings is something very difficult that I struggle with myself. And another mental aspect is dealing with the social aspect of things. So when you are fasting or on a special diet, a lot of times people don't understand why you're doing it. Even with my family, however I explain to them, sometimes they don't seem to understand, and they are always offering me food that I've repeatedly tell them I cannot consume, or that if I consume them I don't feel well. So and that can kind of put a little wedge in social relationship. So that these are like the two, the craving and social aspect are the two things that I feel like it has been a constant struggle for me. Now the concerns I still have, or I'm still looking to resolve, issues I'm still looking to resolve, are my continuous GI problem, particularly within the last year, this new GI problem. just doesn't seem to go away. I am still seeing doctors and trying to work with them, but right now there is no solution. Another concern I have is protein and fat ratio. The reason I'm wondering about fat and protein ratio is again because I'm finding myself gaining weight, and I feel like this fat and protein ratio probably has something to do with it, because I am already keeping my carbs very, very low. The third thing I'm kind of going forward, I'm still trying to figure out is the optimal fiber amount. I find myself really getting constipated and bloated when I have too much fiber. Like if I were to do a whole lot of green vegetable smoothie, sometimes it seems to help me go to the bathroom more, but sometimes it actually seems to make me stuff up. And it is definitely known that too much fiber can give you constipation. So I feel like it's a really fine balance. How much fiber is good for my diet, good for my gut. But for the future, like I said, I feel like a real cure should help a person to slowly phase out of that elimination phase. I do hope that my body goes towards a curing process. I don't think that grains are evil, whole grains. So I don't think eating a whole lot of it like I used to is good, but I don't think it has to be 100% eliminated if it doesn't, if I can keep my blood sugar in check, if it doesn't cause my GI pain. So going forward, I am contemplating on incorporate a little bit higher carbohydrate, maybe going towards a little bit more paleo, so that I can incorporate things like dates and honey. I feel like because it's natural food, it's probably, in my mind, it should be, it's less processed than things like erythritol. So I'm just kind of contemplating if I want to go a little bit towards that paleo side. So 2.5 years in, I'm not an expert. I've seen some YouTubers, when they eat a keto diet for this long, they've become like experts. I am no expert whatsoever. I am still in the middle of trying to figure things out. I'm eating it for my metabolic health, and I am trying to see what else this diet can do for my GI problem. I do hear so many testimonials on how this diet has fixed their people's GI problem. I'm just hoping I could be one of them. I do think this is an overall healthy diet, so I do enjoy it and I do want to continue. But there are like the concerns I've addressed with cravings and other GI issues and fiber. So there's still so many things for me to figure out, but overall I do think this is a healthy diet for me, and I would encourage, if you have like similar issues, to give it a try, especially if you have like seasonal allergies or migraines. I think, at least if for me, it worked completely out of my expectation. So that's my experience, and if you have any wisdom, if you have your experience to share, please leave your comments in the comment section. I hope you like this video. If you like it, please subscribe and share with others. Thank you.